I think one of the weirdest seasons we've ever seen is the Browns when you factor in all the weird shit with Deshaun Watson, because it was clear earlier, like, God damn, this defense is elite. And then you lose Chubb like they did. Was that a Monday Night Football? Yeah, it was against Steelers on Monday Night Football. They've just had some devastating injuries, and then he finally, however many games into his career, technically it's more than 12, but it's his 12th start. He has the best half of football he'd ever had, right? 14 of 14, had a 2-point conversion, had a touchdown throw. He just looked like a solid player. And if he was a solid player, you went like, why couldn't that team be in the AFC Championship if he's just solid? And then a couple days later, he's out for the season with a broken bone or something in his shoulder. It's still bizarre to me, whatever, 24 hours after it was announced, but it is what it is. I mean, he's crying in his press conference like he's gone. So now they're going with a backup quarterback. To me, this definitely, I don't know, on the short term, you might get a little juice, but the long term, like, you look at their schedule, it is manageable, but I can't take them seriously as a playoff contender now with him gone. DTR starting, clearly you might as what's the point in, like, we're not in trying to just win now mode to try to get Deshaun back. Like, he's gone, you might as well just go with the young guy. That makes me nervous, though, man. I mean, I think a huge advantage he had in the preseason, DTR, who was, I'd say, one of the guys that everyone went like, God, is this guy a star? He was a fifth-year senior. He had played forever in college. The preseason, you're just playing the same defense over and over. And then we saw him in the real game against the Ravens, and it was a joke. So playing the Steelers, I don't really love. Now, this game is at home, but still, I guess that Ravens game was at home too, huh? When he got the start, because they just beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Yeah. The Steelers offense makes you nervous. I don't give a shit if they're playing Alabama, but I just have a hard time rookie quarterback who just looks so bad, and I think you got to throw away that preseason. I can't really bet the Steelers because they play in the same freaking game all the time. But I don't know. The Browns make me nervous.
Yeah, I played the Browns here. I wouldn't have laid over 3 last week. Well, we didn't recap last week. I could tell you about the Steelers' luck because I watched it firsthand last week.
We had him 3.5, the Packers, and he's throwing a touchdown and bounces off the DB and right into the safety's hand.
Yeah, not only that, that was what we did. Luckily, the Texans and Cowboys got there easy. Packers should have covered. The 2 things happened. They missed an extra point. Otherwise, they would have tied the game a million times. They went up and down the field. They had 400 yards of offense. This dead offense. By the way, I think the Steelers' defense bit overrated. They have great defensive line and edge rushers. They're going to make plays, but Jordan Love all of a sudden looked like an all-pro last week, moving the ball up and down the field. How about a couple weeks ago, Will Levis against the Steelers? Everyone's like, oh, he can't complete a pass now. So this Steelers defense, I think, might be a bit overrated. But last week, there's a backwards pass. Kenny Pickett just turns around, throws it backwards, 3 yards. It's clear. Packers get it, go to the 3-yard line. They reviewed it and just said it stands. If you haven't seen that, I
missed that.
Absolutely perplexed. The luck that the Steelers have had. They've had 6 wins, all by 1 possession, all in comeback fashion. They've been outgained in all 9 games. There's only been 20 teams over the last 100 years that have been outgained in all 9 games. That's the company that they're in. They're the only team with a winning record, and they're 6-3. Their expected wins, if you go based on performance, is 2. They're basically playing like a 2-7 team. Go back to the Browns game. They came back to beat the Browns. They had 2 defensive touchdowns late. They had negative yards over the final 20 minutes, and they came back from 10 down with negative yards. This team is a complete fraud. I mean, like, their offense is so bad. It's poorly schemed. Pickett is horrendous. They're just getting so lucky in so many facets, and there's going to be a ton of regression coming. Kind of reminds me of that team that started out like 10-0 a couple years back, and then they took their medicine the rest of the way. But so when I look at this game, I wasn't going to lay over 3 with a low scoring game. And for what it's worth, the spread is now Browns -1, and I like Cleveland here. Total's down to 33. And if you go back, this is maybe kind of random. Go back over the past 30 years, home teams in divisional games with a total of 34 or less have gone 25-8 against the spread, 76%. I don't know why. could just be random. It's a small sample size, or it could just be like these games are super low scoring and the home team just makes another play in front of the crowd. I don't know. But the interesting thing is that we haven't seen this scoring isn't as low as it used to be. The last time we saw this, 2012, spread was 1, total was 33. Browns hosting the Steelers. Browns starting a rookie quarterback in that game. Browns win on 8 Pittsburgh turnovers. So that was the last time we've seen it. I found that interesting when I was digging into the game. But I trust the Browns defense here. I think they're the best defense in the NFL. They're going up against this horrendous Steelers offense that couldn't do a thing in the first matchup. I mean, literally a thing. DTR looked horrendous, but was playing against a really good Ravens defense. Found that he was playing starting that morning, wasn't running with the ones. I mean, that's an impossible task for a rookie quarterback. So he at least got his beak wet. I liked what I saw from him in college. I don't think they're going to ask him to do much. I mean, they're going to hand it off, punt it, and then rely on their defense. After that game against the Ravens, and this game is huge for the Browns. They're just going to say, look, we'll run. Maybe we'll take a deep shot where if you throw a pick, a play action. Maybe
why don't they go Michigan, Penn State level game plan?
I suggested on my podcast that I would punt on first down. Every first down I punt because you take away the Steelers voodoo of like fumbles, and then you maximize the amount of times that Kenny Pickett has the ball against that defense. So I would just not have a quarterback. I'd have my quarterbacks just sitting there in case I'm down late. That's it. But I would just punt on first down. It's only semi-joking. But the Browns defense is the best unit in this game with 2 questionable, quarterback situations. And it's going to come down to who can make a play on defense. I'm going to trust the Browns at home. I think DTR will look a little bit better. There's a ton of regression coming for the Steelers team that just is getting lucky every single week in the fourth quarter. And that just simply won't keep up. So I think DTR will look a little better, but the Browns aren't going to do much here on offense. And I think the Browns defense will come to play and ultimately win this game. It'll end they'll win it 13-10. So I'll take the Browns -1.
I was going to say 13-9. That feels like this game. 13-9.
Feels right.
Okay, Stuckey, go Beavs. And let's enjoy the weekend.
Let's do it. Let's get to the window with the Beavers. And good luck this weekend.
Do it, baby.
See you next week.